What's going on, everybody? It's Aurora coming at you with a brand new video, and taking a little bit of a break from Infinite Forbidden, it seems, we're actually getting the first reveals for the Light Duelist pack, funnily enough, which seems a little random, but out of all decks, we actually ended up getting some more Trickstar support, which is interesting, because I'm not sure when our last wave of Trickstar support was. Like, it might not have been for a good while now, and that was when they started leaning into, like, the Fusion stuff, which was kind of weird, because nobody really played Fusion stuff when it came to Trickstar, and I think it's interesting because I always really liked Trickstar as a deck, even though I used to be part of the crew of like, oh, limit or ban reincarnation, that card's insane, which it is a really strong card. And I actually messed around with Trickstar Runic and stuff, so I'm hoping this actually makes the deck a bit more viable in the modern day. The big problem with Trickstar is that it's a lot slower in now compared to what it was back in Master 4, like a lot of decks like Sky Striker, which was splashed with the deck. And so I don't want to waste any more time, let's go ahead and dive right in. Starting off, we have Trickstar Hoodie, which is a level 2 Light Fairy. Oh shit, it's a level 2 Sprite Shenanigans. It has 600 attack and 1800 defense, and you can only use each effect once per turn. If you control a Trickstar Fusion or Link, you can special it from your hand, and if it's sent to the graveyard as material for the summon of a Trickstar monster, Link summon specifically, you can add a Trickstar Fusion or Trickstar Diffusion from your deck to your hand. So Trickstar Fusion is basically like a regular polymerization, but you can also banish it to add a Trickstar from grave to hand, but you cannot summon monsters with that name for the rest of the term, just as a heads up. And this seems pretty serviceable. I really hope that they try to aim a bit more for like the Link spam style focus of Trickstar. I think it's actually got a lot of potential for a Link spam deck. The big problem is that it doesn't have a good boss monster because Bella Madonna, or whatever her name is, kind of sucks. But I mean, it's a simple special summon from hand, also works if you control a fusion, which is cool in case the fusion aspect gets any better. We don't have Trickstar Diffusion as part of like our actual stuff we have now. It'll be revealed later, so hopefully that can end up being pretty solid. Next up, we have Trickstar Band Dramatis. The band ones usually are like the fusion ones, I think. Is a level 6 Light Fairy. Yeah, it's a fusion, okay. With 2000 attack and 1000 defense that requires 2 Trickstar monsters, and you can only use the first and third effects of this card's name once per turn. If it's fusion summon, you can add a Trickstar card from deck to hand with a different name from the cards you control and in your graveyard. Your Trickstar Link monsters that point to this card gain 1000 attack, and if either player takes effect damage, you can target one face-up monster in the field and change its attack to 0. It seems alright. I mean, it does require 2 Trickstar monsters, which is a pretty simple cost. Adds any Trickstar card, which is going to be really good for grabbing cards like Light Stage, Candina, stuff like that. And then this is some pretty decent stat manipulation as well. They do have a little bit of a battle focus as well as the effect damage stuff, which a lot of people don't really remember. They can deal quite a bit of damage in certain times. And then this especially will make it a lot better to OTK. Not bad, honestly. Next up, we have Trickstar Chica, and I actually really like this artwork. It's super cute. Reminds me a lot of Trickstar Nightshade, which I really like. It's a Link 1 Light Fairy. Cool, another Link 1 with 200 attack and a bottom arrow, and it requires a non-Link Trickstar. You can only special summon her once per turn and use its effect once per turn. When a monster is destroyed by battle involving your Trickstar monster while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish it and target one of those destroyed monsters and burn your opponent equal to the attack it had on the field. It seems like a pretty good way of dealing extra damage to your opponent, which is really good, especially when you combine it with like Light Stage. Light Stage will actually deal 200 more, so you can get a lot of stuff in, especially when you're attacking directly on top of that in your same turn, with the Trickstar Lilybell and stuff. And then of course Dramatis is going to be making things 0, which actually, that might not work with it, because it says attack on the field, so actually that wouldn't even work. That kind of clashes a little bit. But it will make your stuff bigger to make it easier to punch into. Weird that it only has a graveyard effect for a Link 1, but it's a really good way to just get your Nightshade engrave, or whatever the one is that specials itself back. I think it's Nightshade, so you can start Link climbing. Their final new monster is Trickstar Noble Angel, which is just Holly Angel, but it looks like she added a mace to her whip. It is a Link 2 with 2000 attack and a bottom left and right arrow that requires 2 Trickstar monsters, and you can only use each effect of this card's name once per turn. If it's Link summoned, you can add a blue Tears card from your deck to your hand. I know we're getting a new blue Tears card here, but I think we already have, yeah, Angel of Blue Tears. It burns someone on the field equal to the number of cards in their hand times 200, but it burns the opponent specifically by targeting a monster. And then it negates the effects of the targeted monster, and if effect damage is inflicted, you can banish it from grave to set a normal trap directly from hand or deck. I used it in, like, Valmonica, but I'm not sure if it's actually used in Trickstar. But also, if you have a fusion in your grave, on your field, or in your grave, sorry, you can target a Trickstar in your grave and special summon it, and if either player takes effect damage, you can target one face-up card in the field and destroy it. This is actually really, really good. I'm pretty sure the new blue Tears card is going to be pretty solid at least. I know they're getting at least one. They might get a second one as well. And also, this is a great way to get back Trickstar monsters. It says any Trickstar monster too, so it can be a fusion or a Link boss monster, anything like that. And then this is great removal considering you're going to be burning a lot. Granted, it is a hard once per turn, obviously, otherwise it'd be kind of insane. But it is really great. Here's the fabled Trickstar Diffusion. It is a normal trap that says you can only use the first and second effects once per turn. You can activate one of these effects to either summon a Trickstar Fusion from your extra deck by banishing its materials from your graveyard, or immediately link summon a Trickstar monster. And you can banish it from your graveyard and target a Trickstar you control. In this turn, your opponent's monsters cannot target monsters for attacks except that monster while you control it. It seems alright. I mean, being able to quick link or quick fuse is pretty cool, especially because this one does use materials from your graveyard. Not so sure about the second effect though, because I mean, other than attacking a big monster or forcing them to attack a big monster, I don't really see a huge purpose in making them attack specific things. I don't really know. Maybe it's solid, maybe it's not, but I think I'd rather grab Reincarnation most of the time, but I guess this is searchable off the New Girl. Finally, we have Maiden of Blue Tears. The new Blue Tears card is a normal trap that says you can only use one of its effects per turn and only once that turn. If your opponent special summons a monster and you control a link monster, target one of those summoned monsters and destroy it, and if you do inflict damage to your opponent equal to half its original attack, and if either player takes effect damage while it's in your graveyard, you can banish it, then target one normal spell in your graveyard or banishment, set it, but it cannot be activated this turn. Seems pretty decent. It's a solid disruption that you can search off of a link too, which is really cool. And also does a little bit of burn that does not stack with Light Stage, unfortunately, but it will be more burn on top of what you're already doing to them. And also, that does trigger Noble Angel as well, so you can get 2 pops at once, which is really good. And then the second effect, while it isn't going to be able to be used on the exact same turn, can be used to reset cards like Trickstar Fusion or even Trickstar Festival, which is a double token summoner, which is really cool. That also protects your extra deck Trickstars from being destroyed by banishing itself from grave, so you can get a lot of value out of this card, and I think it's really solid. So what do I think about the new Trickstar cards? I don't really think they're going to be enough to make Trickstar actually on the map again. Definitely not anywhere near their former glory or anything. But I think they are serviceable, especially for the mode or like Link-focused style Trickstar builds as opposed to like just the runic stuff, for example. I really like Trickstar Hoodie. It's a really nice extender that also grabs you into your fusion plays on top of your Link plays, which is really cool. Dramatis or whatever, sorry, is pretty decent because it does add any Trickstar card from deck to hand, which is really good. That can help extend again into more fusion or link plays, and then this can really help your beatdown focus on top of the effect damage you're dealing. Chica is pretty cool as an additional link one because I think the only other one they had was Bloom, which is not amazing. It makes your opponent draw a card so you can burn them with Licorice, and then also if a link or Trickstar monster this card points to is destroyed, you can burn 200 to your opponent for each card in their hand. This is just a much better target to go into than Bloom. I really like Noble Angel. I think Noble Angel is easily the best card to come out of this support. For a link 2, it is pretty bloated. It extends your plays, it gets you disruptions, 2 disruptions, which is really good. Trickstar Diffusion is definitely like the weakest card out of the bunch, but it is fine. It's completely serviceable for what it is. I realized that the second effect is mostly for the Trickstar Band Sweet Guitar, which is their old link monster that want you to use a link monster. This is their old fusion monster that want you to use a link monster and a Trickstar to make it gain a shit ton of attack each time your opponent takes burn damage, and also it doubles the effect damage dealt to your opponent by linked monsters that are dealing effect damage, so you can force them to attack into that when it gets really, really big. And then I really like Maiden of Blue Tears. It is a very great card, especially being searchable. Even if you just play it as a one-of, it can deal so much damage, get a lot of value, and then get back cards like Festival and Fusion, which can be really great for your plays. All in all, I think it makes Trickstar a lot more serviceable, but I definitely don't think it's going to be enough to put it like in the meta anymore. But I don't know, that's just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, because that's going to do it for the video. If you like it, please sure to leave a like, as well as put this video and the channel into the YouTube recommended. And if this content makes you like it, like the rest of my review series, then perhaps consider subscribing, because we're already 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2024. Not to mention it supports the channel or anything else, and it's absolutely free. Also, be sure to turn on notifications. Also, when it's ready directly, we're getting some awesome TCG merchandise in the process. Check out Tapio cards in the link down below. Use code Aurora5 for 5% off your purchase at checkout and to support me financially. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Aurora, signing off.